He stands resolute, declaring the need to protect my party members' lives without exceptions. His companions, one smiling with a staff, the other hooded with a dagger, stand ready. He stands before a massive fallen foe, energy flaring as small winged creatures scatter. That is my present job, the text declares. On a bus heading to a company retreat, Arahado Otobe works on his laptop. Labeled a corporate slave, his focus earns admiration even as a sudden event unfolds on the highway outside. His colleagues jovially insist the title should be an honor. Otobe dryly retorts, "Thanks for the disgraceful title," as a woman nearby reacts with displeasure. This is Kyuka Igarashi, manager of the Media Strategy Second Division, known as one of the company's beautiful career women. Otobe, the narrative reveals, is her assistant. A colleague expresses jealousy over Otobe's position working for Kyuka. "Just my position, right?" Otobe counters dryly, recalling he was enthusiastic at first. Nearby, a thought bubble trails off about Kyuka's true nature. Her true nature emerges. Kyuka enthusiastically presents a great plan, urging Otobe-kun forward. Simultaneously, she's revealed as a hopelessly rough, workaholic demon boss, whose ideas engulf Otobe in waves of overtime. Exhausted, Otobe admits, "I'm at my limit." A colleague encourages him to rest during the long-awaited trip, as they still have time before reaching the ski resort. Gratefully, Otobe decides, "I'll take a nap then," and the colleague promises to wake him upon arrival. "I'm so tired," thinks Otobe as he drifts off to sleep. News flashes suddenly depict a catastrophic bus accident with numerous casualties and ongoing rescue efforts. "Good morning." A new girl greets Otobe, noting he must have been extremely worn out. The girl explains she guides the reincarnated and mistook his extreme exhaustion for death. "Ah, that fellow didn't pass away yet," she realizes. "Eh?" Otobe exclaims, confused, insisting, "Someone was supposed to wake me up." Standing before a bustling fantasy cityscape filled with adventurers, the girl welcomes Otobe. "Welcome to Labyrinth Country." Knights, blacksmiths, vendors, and adventurers populate the bustling streets, revealing the diverse life within Labyrinth Country, as Otobe and the girl observe. Still confused, Otobe is informed his soul was escorted safely to Labyrinth Country, and that he has been reborn as a seeker. Handing him the seeker's license, the girl instructs Otobe to first take it to the guild and get a job. The girl directs Otobe to the guild straight down the street, telling him to ask reception for more details. Wishing him a good new life, she then departs, leaving him alone. Alone now, Otobe nervously clutches his license and makes his way through the noisy, crowded streets of Labyrinth Country toward the guild. Standing before the large guild building amidst the noisy crowd, Otobe looks up thinking, "This is a theme park, isn't it?" He steps inside the large building, confirming his location with the thought, "Is this the guild?" The interior is a spacious hall populated by various adventurers. Suddenly, an aggressive adventurer grabs Otobe. "Whoa!" demanding, "You a novice, right?" He questions if Otobe has a death wish for planning to enter the labyrinth without a party. Reacting with a throbbing pain, Otobe questions the unfamiliar terms, labyrinth and reincarnation. The other adventurer impatiently asks, "Still can't remember anything," frustrated at the thought of Otobe dying again so soon after being reincarnated. "You've died once over there," the adventurer states bluntly, pointing at a shocked Otobe. "You were reborn and then sent to this place." This triggers Otobe's memory. On that bus, he finally recalls the accident as the adventurer comments, "Shh, what a slow poke." As Otobe is processing the revelation, the adventurer's attention shifts to the entrance. "Look who decided to show up," he exclaims, recognizing the newcomer. It's the Death Sword. An armored girl with twin tails approaches another novice, asking intently, "Were you the novice who chose the Shrine Maiden job?" The novice hesitantly confirms, yes." The armored girl grabs the novice Shrine Maiden's arm, pulling her along as she pleads, "Please, please join my party." The spectacle of the armored girl desperately dragging the novice Shrine Maiden through the guild causes loud laughter. "Ha ha ha, GYA," from the onlookers, including the adventurer hassling Otobe. Both Otobe and the Shrine Maiden look on in confusion. While onlookers shout discouragingly, "Don't you listen to her. Just quit it, lass." The shrine maiden seems aware her role isn't suited for a vanguard. The armored girl clarifies her need. I'm currently looking for someone with a rearguard job, just like you. The armored girl pitches her offer. Fast leveling, and the shrine maiden can leave any time if you find it unpleasant. Meanwhile, onlookers jeer. Ha, ha, ha. The adventurer mockingly offers himself to the passing death sword. Ha. As Atobe wonders. Wait, what's going on? They're jeering at a girl. The shrine maiden clenches her fist, distressed by the continued laughter. Ha, ha. Seeing this, Atobe angrily intervenes, shouting at the jeering adventurer and crowd, What are you saying to a young girl? What a pity, the armored girl thinks, leading the shrine maiden away from the crowd. As they depart, the shrine maiden begins to glow slightly, prompting an onlooker to remark, Look at that. The adventurer laughs smugly. Hi, hi, hi. Gloating, Heh. That novice chose the wrong person to party with. He claims she ignored his good-natured advice, eliciting a look of disgust from Atobe. A rule of this world is stated. In this country, the way you get crowed and depends on who you associate with, and the job you choose. The adventurer turns his attention back to Atobe, calling out, Hey, you novice over there. He mockingly refers to the departed shrine maiden as another victim by the death sword, adding with a laugh, Well, it's always nice to have stupid things to talk about. Atobe jolts. Jolt! Conceding the adventurer is right about the dangers of jobs and parties here, realizing we have to fight monsters. Nearby, a woman observes him thinking, That's the first time I've seen a man with awful pedigree. Sick. Atobe recognizes the woman observing him. Miss Igarashi? Realizing this means she also died. No. He is stunned. Yes, it's me. She confirms, adding, Yeah, there's more of us. Igarashi clarifies that apparently, not all of the passengers on the bus are here. Atobe observes that no matter how he looks at it, this is a cosplay world in its entirety. Igarashi adds thoughtfully, perhaps it's a blessing in disguise. Igarashi continues her thought, concluding, In a way, we were sent here to start a brand new way of life. Atobe listens, thinking, I see. Igarashi pressures Atobe. So will you decide on your job and start working soon, Atobe-kun? Calling it one of the many duties of a reincarnated person. Feeling the intensity, this atmosphere. Atobe interrupts. Wait, what do you mean by monsters and fighting? Igarashi requests, if possible, choose a job that I can rely on. Atobe thinks, I knew it. He has a vision, Arihido's vision, of her becoming his demon slave driver again, working him relentlessly, just like before. Determined not to continue living as a corporate slave, Atobe asks Igarashi about her job in this world. She replies, establishing a new dynamic. We're no longer boss and subordinate, so don't call me that anymore. Leaving Atobe confused. Anyway, I am a Valkyrie, Igarashi reveals, explaining she can wield swords and spears and use spirit magic. She advises Atobe that party role delegation is crucial for survival, and conflicting jobs should be avoided. Atobe thinks, that sounds like an awesome job. I see, I'll take note of that. Atobe says, absorbing Igarashi's advice on party roles. Following her query about other parties, Zrenya, he adds enthusiastically. Well then, I would also like to be helpful to other parties. Smiling with determination, Atobe calls out, Miss Igarashi, let's try our best to survive. He suggests parting ways for now, adding, and then, let's meet again some other time. I see, Igarashi says, acknowledging Atobe's decision to part ways and try to survive. Turning decisively, she concludes, so I also need to find a party soon. Watching Atobe walk away, Igarashi thinks, Atobe-kun. With a determined look, she vows internally, when I get to see you again, I'll make you say that you've regretted it. Standing alone amidst the crowd, Atobe looks ahead, as Igarashi's parting vow echoes. Mark my words. In a flashback, Igarashi forcefully prevents her section chief from leaving, shouting, Persistent. Where are you going? Come with me. Atobe watches, thinking, she's different from usual. I hope she's okay. The next student steps forward, expecting a routine meeting. Instead, he's stunned by the sight of Louisa Palmer, his new assistant and counselor, dressed in a revealing uniform. The guide switches to business mode to formally greet Atobi. "Welcome to Labyrinth Country, Arihido Atobe-sama," she says, explaining that this country is composed of labyrinths where seekers retrieve valuables, and others like her are there to support them. The guide formally declares, "Starting today, Arihido Atobe-sama will be a seeker." She instructs him to activate his license and choose the job selection option. The guide explains the unique job selection process. There's no list because the reincarnated hold various skills and knowledge. Then think of a job befitting yourself for the empty space. She instructs, telling Atobi to simply write his desired job onto the license. Atobi understands but thinks, "But there's no internet here." The guide adds a crucial warning. Your job affects how you acquire seekers' contribution points. Hearing about these points, Atobi is urged, so please think carefully, or you will regret it later. Contribution points are earned through actions within the labyrinths, such as coming back with rare treasures, subjugating powerful monsters, and saving another fellow's life. After evaluation, these points determine the official ranking among seekers. The receptionist explains the critical importance of rank. The ranking, so to speak, is your social status. Clothes, food, living place, and your other essential needs are also decided by this. She adds bluntly. Incidentally, the lowest rank is equal to a life at the stables. Shocking Atobi. Stables? Urged by the receptionist to aim for the top, to avoid the dire consequences of low rank, Atobi feels the pressure. Honestly, right now, the stables are a bit. Recalling the relentless workload from Igarashi, let's go. He realizes the thing I need to avoid is that. Acknowledging he's still jobless with no room for leisure, Atobi considers the need for a highly demanded job. He overhears talk of rear guards and wonders, are they the most sought after, even for new recruits? Atobi writes rear guard onto the license's empty space, hoping the system will auto-assign an appropriate job within that category. Surprised, Atobi watches as rear guard glows and transforms into runic script on the license. Psh. Surprised. Eh? The receptionist asked what Atobi wrote. Hearing rear guard, she asks for a moment. Huh? One moment, please. To examine the resulting runic script on the license. The receptionist stares at the license, utterly shocked as her monocle pops off. Seeing her reaction, Atobi asks worriedly, "Pardon, have I done something wrong?" As others begin to notice. "Your wish has been granted." Louisa-san beams, presenting the completed license, while another staffer adds, "See, congratulations." Confused, Atobi asks, "So, what job did I end up with?" Leaning closer, the receptionist reveals the surprising result. Literally, it's rear guard. Or should I say, your job is specifically rear guard. Atobi looks stunned. Atobi is horrified. I don't have the slightest idea of this job. Fearing the worst case scenario. You'll end up partying with no one. The receptionist confirms the abnormality, admitting it's her first time seeing such runic letters, as normally written words remain legible. Footsteps echo, katsukatsu, as someone walks away. A thought bubble expressing disbelief hangs in the air. No way. Walking away, Igarashi glances back, thinking dismissively, idiot. As for Atobe-sama's unknown job, the guide warns him, you could be mocked or denied to a party. Atobi looks shocked at the prospect. As Atobi leaves, the ambiguity of his new job lingers. While it appears to have proper skills, the guide admitted, I don't know how to explain them to you properly. The guide's final advice echoes as Atobi stands outside. Take these copper tickets and hire a mercenary. Please use them until you understand your job. Atobi examines his newly assigned rearguard skills. Support defense level 1, support attack level 1, aid recovery level 1, and behind the front lines. Immediately overwhelmed, how much would a 10 points damage be? He already thinks I should have joined manager. No exclamation mark, Atobi rejects his earlier regret, stealing his resolve. Remembering he finally said goodbye to corporate slave life, he decides on his first action. First, I need to hire a mercenary and learn more about my skill. A figure crashes violently through the wall. Crash, landing heavily. Thump. Whoa, exclaim Atobi and his companion as the newcomer issues a threat. Next time I see you, lay your hands on my mercenaries. Standing amidst the debris, crumble, the powerful newcomer points forward menacingly, declaring her intention towards the unseen attacker. I will gouge that little bastard. Atobi watches, startled. Hi, MP. The powerful blonde woman who crashed through the wall introduces herself. I'm Layla. Atobi approaches Layla, identified as this mercenary guild's second in command. Yes. Looking at his payment, a nearby mercenary remarks, a copper ticket, eh? A demi-human, then. Surprising Atobi. Demi-human. But sorry. Layla explains to Atobi, almost all of the demi-humans are hired. She tells him, you can only hire a Midgard lizard man, specifically one whose job is a rogue. Atobi reacts with surprise, lizard people? Lizard man. So, what's your decision? Layla presses Atobi. Will you hire them or not? Faced with the hissing lizard man rogue, Sha. Atobi hesitates, intimidated, a demi-human, and wondering, is it okay for me to hire such a thing? I want to refuse, but Atobi thinks, considering the intimidating lizard men. He realizes, however, when fighting a monster, I'll need someone I can rely on. All right, I have decided. Atobi tells Layla, yes, please. Layla brings the lizard man rogue over, who says, I kept you waiting. Looking at the imposing figure, Atobi nervously thinks, it wouldn't eat me, right? Layla introduces the lizard man rogue mercenary Atobi just hired. Her name is Teresa. Atobi looks on with surprise. Well then, let's have a written oath that you won't do malicious things. Layla begins, starting the formal hiring process. Atobi quickly interrupts. No. Wait a minute. A boy questions the identity of a girl in a strange outfit, insisting she's human. His companion corrects him. She's a former human. Flustered, he denies any strange intentions when she reacts. Why use them as mercenaries? Atobi asks, confused about demi-humans. The official explains, it's very rare, but seekers who die from monsters inside the labyrinth might undergo a heteromorphic transformation into demi-humans. Layla explains Teresa's condition. Not just her voice, she has lost most of what makes her human. Furthermore, she can only move by another person's command. With only battle instincts left, Layla suggests, it's better for her to work as a mercenary. Sorry to keep you waiting, Teresa. Atobi formally greets his new mercenary. Holding a weapon, Teresa thinks with satisfaction, I finally got my hands on a weapon, and it makes me feel like a bona fide seeker. They then depart together. Despite Layla's explanation about Teresa's condition, Atobi remains hesitant. Even if Layla-san told me about it. He thinks, like looking at Teresa, I can't bring myself to force such a child into a fight. It can't be helped, Atobi thinks with resignation, scratching his head as he walks with Teresa. He considers the difficulty for her, especially that she'll be in a party with someone whose job is as ambiguous as me. Standing on an overlook with Teresa, Atobi decides, on his immediate plan. I'll try out my skills, then return and call it a day. Atobi and Teresa stand together, looking out over the bustling city plaza before them. They approach their destination. So that's the beginner's labyrinth, known as the Plains of Dawn. However, the area looks less like plains and more like a ruin. As Atobi encourages Teresa, anyway, let's go back unscathed, Teresa. Preparing to set off, an armored guard places a hand on his shoulder, stopping him. Wait a minute, lad. The large, imposing guard slams his axe down, thud, blocking Atobi's path. Whoa. He demands, looking down at the startled novice. Ah. Are you a novice seeker? A misunderstanding breaks out as the man accuses the protagonist of scamming novices. Caught off guard, the protagonist tries to explain, but the angry man mistakes him for someone else entirely. The imposing guard introduces himself and his group to Atobi. We're called supporters. He clarifies their role. We're a bunch of guys who help novice seekers like you. The supporter leader apologizes profusely for his earlier roughness. Please forgive my rudeness. Noting Atobi's difficult job and his choice of a demi-human fighter, he offers help. We can offer you our assistance. Atobi overhears the supporters discussing Igarashi. That beauty, is she in a proper party? One asks. They're talking about the manager. Atobi thinks, listening intently. Responding to the query about Igarashi, a supporter notes, I only saw her enter the labyrinth, but there were quite a variety of seekers with her. The supporter corrects Atobi's apparent misunderstanding regarding Igarashi. Your ex? It's not like that. Atobi asks if it's safe to assume she's with a legitimate party. Hearing confirmation implied, he thinks with relief. That's a relief. It looks like I don't have to worry about her. The supporter leader offers encouragement. Well, whatever happened in your previous lives. Compared to dying, living is better, he states. He advises Atobi, now that you've met here, you should be helping each other out. As Atobi and Teresa head off, the supporter leader calls out parting reassurance. We'll be here, so call us immediately if anything happens. We'll be there to help you out. Taking determined steps forward, step. Atobi contemplates the fundamental choice facing every seeker, to live or to die. Contemplating his newly assigned role, Atobi thinks, with my job as rearguard. He visualizes facing monstrous threats, adding, if it comes to it, then. As they approach the entrance, Atobi contemplates his new role, wondering, how much can I use this to protect people? Atobi and Teresa arrive at the windy, open expanse of the Plains of Dawn, the area before the beginner's labyrinth. Whoosh. Eh? Atobi looks around, surprised. Weren't we just inside a cave? He thinks, before realizing with amazement, this is so amazing. So this is a labyrinth. All right. Atobi decides, looking around the relatively calm plains. Let's find a weak monster to try out my skills. He feels relieved. I expected it to be more chaotic. Holding his license, Atobi spots his first potential target. A small slime-like creature bouncing past. Boing. Atobi confirms the bouncing slime is indeed a monster. Is that furball a monster too? Deciding to engage? For now, should we fight it? Teresa draws her weapon. Shinning. Suddenly the slime stops bouncing and begins to spin. Spin. Puzzling Atobi. Teresa swings her weapon in a wide arc. Wham. Attacking the spinning slime as Atobi dodges out of the way. Teresa's attack triggers an explosive counter from the slime. Boom. Despite dodging, S-An, she is thrown back, landing hard. Slam. The spinning slime burrows into the ground. Spin, creak. Suddenly, the ground erupts violently where it burrowed. Crack. Crush. Forcing Teresa to leap back quickly. Whoosh. Overwhelmed. Thud-thud-thud-zoon. Atobi feels the combined pressures of his past life and the uncertain stakes of his new one crashing down. Atobi shudders, the thought flashing through his mind. Death. As the slime monster launches itself forward with surprising speed. Whoosh. Let's escape, Teresa, Atobi urges, trying to flee the rapidly attacking slime, but he trips. Trip. As Teresa hesitates, he shouts urgently. Again. Teresa pushes Atobi clear. Push. Taking the slime's attack herself. Hit. She crashes hard onto the ground. Slam. Gak. Teresa, are you? Atobi calls out as he gets up. Rise. The protagonist is caught off guard as the girl in the creature costume suddenly climbs on top of him, leaving him shocked and flustered. Atobi rushes to the injured Teresa. Teresa! Component placement dash. Who groans in pain. Ku. As he checks on her, Terrace. The slime monster recovers and begins spinning again. Spin. Teresa intercepts the attack, leaping in front of Atobi. As she takes the hit, Atobi reaches out, thinking desperately, I have one favor to ask you. Teresa recalls Layla's earlier words regarding demi-humans. They may be demi-humans, but they also feel pain and hunger. Layla's advice lingers. Keep that in mind. Teresa takes the full impact of the attack, slam, affirming Atobi's earlier favor with a simple yes. Seeing Teresa violently thrown aside after taking the hit, Atobi cries out, Teresa! This is not good! Let's retreat! Teresa catches Atobi. Eh! Steadying them both while pointing forward purposefully. Point. Atobi looks on, processing. Teresa takes a ready stance, sword and shield prepared, with Atobi positioned directly behind her, assuming the rearguard role. I'm such a loser, Atobi thinks, feeling ashamed. What am I doing, being protected by a little girl like this? Shaking off his doubt, he resolves, let me protect you. Activating his skill. I am support defense level 1, exclamation mark. I'm such a loser, Atobi thinks, feeling ashamed. What am I doing? Being protected by a little girl like this. Shaking off his doubt, he resolves, let me protect you. Activating his skill. I am Support Defense Level 1. Exclamation mark Atobe channels his skill forward. BA. Activating Support Defense. Teresa looks back, surprised. A rear guard after all. Atobi thinks, fully embracing his role. Atobi's Support Defense Level 1 activates. Buzz, forming a crackling hexagonal energy barrier around Teresa. Crackle. The hexagonal shield of support defense lingers before them. Teresa looks towards Atobi, surprised. Pointing excitedly as his skill takes effect, Atobi shouts, I did it. Teresa focuses, braced by his support. Empowered by Atobi's support, Teresa leaps into action, wielding dual weapons fiercely against the unseen enemy. Shriek. Atobi watches from his position in the rear. With the slime monster defeated, Atobi turns quickly to Teresa, swing around, asking urgently, how's your wound? Let's return quickly and have you treated. Teresa seems to indicate she's all right. That's right. Supporting the silent Teresa. As they walk away after the battle, Atobi thinks apologetically, I'm sorry, Teresa. Supporting Teresa, Atobi reflects, honestly, I have yet to take this fight or die thing seriously. Considering Teresa even lost your life once in this place, he has a moment of clarity. Now, I finally understand everything. A scream echoes, Kia! Startling Atobi, what's that? He turns to Teresa, saying with conviction, thank you for protecting me. From now on, I will surely protect you. Startled by the scream, Atobi pinpoints the direction. It's from that side. He and Teresa rush to the cliff edge, looking down at the source of the commotion below. Looking down from the cliff edge, Atobi spots a familiar figure fighting below. Manager. The situation appears dire. Arihito's former boss is in a pinch. Confirming Igarashi, Manager is indeed in trouble. Atobi thinks urgently. This is bad. She's in a pinch. I have to help her. As the wind blows across the field, the boy pleads with Teresa to listen. He reminds her that even beings like her feel pain and hunger, hoping to reach the humanity still within her. Atobi instructs Teresa firmly. Duh. Please go and call the supporters for reinforcements. And get medical treatment immediately. He declares his own intent, holding a dagger ready. I will stay and help those people. I'm counting on you. Atobi shouts to Teresa as she leaps away to follow his instructions. He then slides down the cliff face, slide Zaza, to join the battle below. Ignoring Atobi's protests, Teresa, I'll be fine, so... Teresa dashes forward, by Uo, towards the battle below, where Igarashi's party is surrounded by bouncing slimes. Boing. Can't be helped, Atobi thinks, resigned to join the immediate fight. Below, Igarashi's party faces a bouncing dark sphere. Someone identifies the threat. That's a named monster. Red face panic erupts within Igarashi's party facing red face. One member shouts, "This is not what you said. You told me I can easily earn contribution points by escorting 2 novices." Another retorts, "Shut up. This was beyond my calculations." While a third cries, "No, I don't want to die." Shriek. The named monster, Redface, attacks Igarashi's party below, launching itself forward in a powerful boomerang dive. "Watch out!" Atobi shouts from above as Igarashi reacts with surprise exclamation mark. Igarashi executes a rapid movement skill with her spear. Blink step. Amazing, Atobi thinks, impressed as he watches Igarashi execute blink step. So that's manager's skill. She can carry people with that move. Igarashi continues the rapid maneuver. Whoosh. Redface's boomerang dive attack connects, striking one of the panicking party members hard. Ooh. Oof. Redface's boomerang dive attack bounces, bowing off a mound, and continues its high-speed trajectory. Shriek. Amidst the chaos and panic of her party facing Redface, Igarashi takes command, shouting, "All of you, get a hold of yourselves. We're going to retreat." The scroll of return is revealed, an item enabling instant labyrinth escape for the user and party, but at the cost of greatly reduced contribution points. Meanwhile, Igarashi's party members are injured. It hurts. and panicking. I don't want to die. Spear ready. Whoosh. Igarashi stands firm, preparing to face the threat as her party members falter behind her. Igarashi looks surprised. Looking down at the battle, Atobi realizes Igarashi's party members have vanished. They disappeared? He thinks with alarm. Why is manager the only one left? Below, Igarashi braces herself alone. Dokun. Heart pounding. Dokun, dokun. Igarashi focuses intently. Shriek. Spear held ready as she faces the threat alone. As Redface shrieks and attacks, shriek. Atobi moves in quickly to support Igarashi. Manager? Zrenya Igarashi looks up, surprised to see Atobi suddenly beside her, joining the fight against Redface. Atobi-kun? She asks, taken aback. Don't come any closer, Atobi-kun. Igarashi shouts, facing Redface. Growl. It's too strong. It's on a level where it cannot be defeated by us novices. Hearing her warning, Atobi thinks with determination. If that's the case, then all the more. Ignoring Igarashi's warning, Atobi rushes forward. Dash, dash, dash. Gesturing as he shouts, Manager, please escape. While Teresa prepares to engage Redface. Clang. Teresa engages the name monster Redface directly, striking forward with her weapon. Clang. Atobi runs, drawing the enemy's attack, smack, towards himself and away from Igarashi. Now armed with 2 daggers, Atobi takes a defensive stance, preparing to act. Igarashi watches him, concerned. Atobi-kun. A flashback reveals Igarashi's distress before reincarnating. Viewing an email from her mother scheduling an unwanted marriage interview, she was about to delete the message. Flashback. In their previous life, Igarashi works late at her computer, while Atobi also remains late at his desk in the background. Igarashi reacts as Atobi speaks off-panel. A flashback shows Atobi working late, fueled by energy drinks but smiling, recalling Igarashi's earlier thought, when I get to see you again. Atobi reminds Igarashi of her earlier competitive vow, I'll make you say that you've regretted it. Gripping her spear tightly, grips, she recalls her own words. Mark my words. Damn it. So tough. Atobi thinks as Redface withstands attacks. Clang. He tells Igarashi, we have to damage it somehow so we can escape. As Igarashi takes a defensive stance with her spear, Atobi reacts with concern. Ooh, what do you think you're doing? Urging her, Manager, hurry up and escape. Ignoring Atobi's plea to escape, Igarashi stands firm, declaring with newfound resolve, I won't run away anymore. Atobi looks on, surprised. Igarashi reflects on her past, thinking, I've always been running away on that side, from my personal problems, spoiled by yours and the other's kindness. That's why, she continues, implying her resolve, in this world where I have been reborn. Teresa leaps dynamically into action. Jump. Observed by a surprised Atobi and Igarashi. With fierce determination, Igarashi declares, I will, bracing herself to stand her ground. Following her declaration, Igarashi unleashes a powerful spear skill, Thunderbolt. As Redface attacks again, whoosh, BZ's Atobi shouts, activating his skill once more. Support defense. Atobi tries to activate his skill again, the skill, but realizes with shock it won't activate as Redface attacks Igarashi. With Atobi's support defense failing to activate, Igarashi is struck by Redface's attack and thrown violently backwards. Atobi can only watch in shock. Igarashi hits the ground hard. Thud, 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 her spear clattering away. Clatter, as she lies motionless, apparently defeated by Redface's attack. Seeing Igarashi thrown back by Redface's attack, bounce, shriek. Atobi cries out in shock, Manager! As Teresa intercepts and blocks Redface's attack. Gya, crackle, shuck. Atobi realizes with sudden urgency, I can still use it. Referring to his support skills. Realizing his skill can work, implied from the previous panel showing Teresa blocking. Atobi questions intensely why it didn't before. Then why? Why did it fail on her? Referring to Igarashi, rereading his skill description, Atobi focuses on the condition for support defense Livy 1. Reduce the damage taken by frontline members by 10 points. He has a sudden realization. I see. Atobi finally connects the dots, realizing why his skill failed earlier. Manager and I are not in the same party. His skills only affect his designated party members. Looking down at the injured Igarashi, Atobi deeply regrets his earlier decision to go separate ways. When she said, "Let's go together," I should have just said, "Yes." Manager. Join my party right now. Atobi urgently pleads with the injured Igarashi, holding out his license, so that I can use my skill. Igarashi weakly responds, Atobe-ku. Atobi kneels beside the injured Igarashi, attempting to add her to his party so he can use his skills. Manager, join my party right now. He fails, realizing with distress, I'm sorry. Overcome with guilt and self-reproach, Atobi thinks, even though I've finally been reborn, after saying something so high and mighty, once again I dragged you like this. Referring to Igarashi being injured, the injured Igarashi weakly pushes Atobi's hand away. Pant, urging him, "Run away, Atobi-kun." She tries to take the blame. "It's all my fault." "So you..." Atobi looks anguished. Teresa stands alert. Rustle. Shield ready, observing Atobi near the fallen Igarashi. Atobi focuses, successfully activating support defense Crackle on Teresa as she raises her shield to block. Kneeling beside the injured Igarashi, Atobi reflects apologetically. If there's someone who needs to apologize, it should be me. I also ran away without trying to understand your feelings. At this moment, he acquires a new skill, Support Attack. Having just acquired the skill, Atobi immediately activates Support Attack, Bees alongside Teresa against Redface. Facing the growling Redface growl alongside Teresa, Atobi declares his renewed resolve. I have also been reborn, so never again will I run away from you. Standing together against Redface, Atobi unleashes his support, energy radiating outwards as Teresa stands within his defensive shield. Seeing Teresa unharmed within the support defense barrier, Atobi analyzes the situation. You being left unscathed means that the attack power of that monster should be less than 10 points. He tells Teresa, I now know how to defend against that monster's attacks. Based on his deduction about Redface's attack power, Atobi explains the offensive strategy to Teresa. Then your attack, reinforced by 10 points using support attack, should pose a threat to that thing. Apologizing internally, sorry, I had no intention of making you go this far. Atobi turns to Teresa and requests, but, for now, please lend me your power. Facing Redface alongside Teresa, Atobi declares his trust and initiates their coordinated effort. I'm counting on you, Teresa. Atobi directs Teresa, shouting the plan over Redface's attack. I'll create an opening by stopping its attack. Use that to strike it down. As Teresa intercepts and blocks Redface's attack, GA crackle, shuck. Atobi realizes with sudden urgency, I can still use it, referring to his support skills. Watching Teresa successfully block the attacks, Atobi realizes Redface is intelligent. It understood that its attacks are being blocked. Don't tell me, so it's coming after me. Just as Redface targets him, Atobi realizes a critical flaw with horror. Myself is not included as a target for support defense. In other words, he cannot shield himself. I must avoid it, Atobi thinks, dodging Redface's high-speed attack. He's surprised as it passes him, or realizing then that thing's aim is... It's heading for Teresa, as Atobi cries out, Igarashi-san! Over his injured manager, Teresa intercepts Redface's attack. Shriek! Like hell I'd let you, Atobi shouts defiantly. Teresa takes a resolute stance, sword raised, ready to continue the fight, as Atobi and Igarashi observe. Teresa charges forward again, moving resolutely towards the looming Redface. Teresa unleashes her skill, Axel dash level 1, launching herself towards Redface in a swift attack. Teresa executes a swift maneuver, flashing past a surprised Atobi. Atobi marvels at Teresa's speed, thinking, that speed. Is that a skill? Teresa. He trails off. No, rather than that. As another thought occurs, realizing it's now or never. Zrenia Atobi вызывает экстренно. Teresa, support, coordinating their final push. Atobi activates support attack level 1. Zrenia empowering Teresa's blade as she strikes forward at Redface. Teresa's support attack enhanced blade strikes Redface. connecting with a bright flash of energy. Atobi shouts in surprise as Teresa lands her powerful support attack enhanced strike on Redface. Teresa's empowered attack strikes true, damaging or defeating Redface. Squish. Teresa strikes forward where Redface was. Suddenly the monster appears behind Atobi, having evaded the attack. Looking at the defeated Redface, Atobi realizes with relief, We defeated it. Nearby, Teresa pants, exhausted from the battle. Fusha. Teresa, the battle's over, Atobi tells the exhausted mercenary. Pant, pant. Looking towards the injured Igarashi. Henyi H. He instructs Teresa. Hurry up and call for help. I'll stay here and look after her. While Atobi tends to the injured Igarashi in the background, Teresa takes a determined stance. B. Ready to act. After the battle, Atobi checks his license while Teresa stands nearby, seemingly waiting or contemplative. Kneeling beside Igarashi, Atobi checks his license and realizes, my level went up. From defeating Redface, reaching Laver's 2, and gaining 2 skill points. He exclaims happily, my skill points also increased. With this, I'll be able to acquire aid recovery. Looking down at the injured Igarashi, Atobi reflects, to think that she went that far for me. He realizes, that's right. Up until now, I never knew about this side of her, but really...
Having acquired aid recovery level 1 after leveling up, Atobi kneels by Igarashi. Despite feeling guilty, this is truly inexcusable. He reassures her, Igarashi-san, we've defeated it. Help will be arriving shortly. So until then, I'll give you first aid using my skill. I have finally realized, Atobi thinks. Looking down at the weakened Igarashi, pant, he pleads again, for that, even just temporarily, please enter. Implicitly asking her to join his party so he can use his skills. The viewpoint shifts, focusing on a female character's rear end. Atobi looks flustered in reaction. Atobi supports the injured Igarashi, helping her after the battle. Kneeling beside Igarashi, Atobi prepares to heal her, explaining apologetically, I'm sorry, I can only use this skill if I position myself behind you, so please, Igarashi-san. Looking calmly at the injured Igarashi, Atobi holds his license and formally asks her, please join my party. The license confirms her acceptance. Kyuka Igarashi has joined the party. Atobi notes her expression as she joined resembled that of a young girl with her own worries. Hearing the intense battle noise, the armored blonde warrior from screenshot 24 and her shrine maiden companion rush towards the scene. That battle noise was too violent for a mere Watadama, the warrior thinks, suspecting it's most likely a named monster, and hoping novices aren't involved. Hearing Redface shriek, the blonde warrior halts abruptly, Gatsu, alert, as she and the shrine maiden arrive near the battle scene. Now, the armored blonde warrior shouts, arriving on the scene and bringing her large weapon down in a powerful blow. Boo! Squeak! The shrine maiden reacts with surprise exclamation mark. Suzuna, calls Alicia-san, the blonde warrior. Yes, replies Suzuna, the shrine maiden, loosing an arrow that strikes Redface. Squeal. Nicely done, partner. Alicia praises Suzuna after her successful shot. If this continues, we can quickly raise your level, she adds encouragingly. Checking his license after Igarashi joined the party, Atobi thinks, I see. He then sits down near the cliff edge, ZA. Atobi examines Igarashi's status, now displayed on his license, noting her level 1 health, this red bar, mana, and below that is mana and experience points. So the circles represent experience points. He also recalls his aid recovery heals 5 points per 30 seconds. Atobi applies Aid Recovery Level 1 to Igarashi, Pitatsu. He watches, amazed, as the skill takes effect. Amazing. The wound is barely visible already. Elisha and Suzuna arrive, shouting, "We're here to help. Hey, novice, where are the monsters?" Seeing Atobi carrying Igarashi near the defeated Redface, Elisha stops, confused. Elisha examines the defeated monster, identifying it. There's no doubt that this is the Red Wadadama, aka Redface. It's a monster that can annihilate a level 3 party alone. Surprised it's defeated, she asks Atobi, "Was there someone from a high-level party?" Atobi explains, "There was one demi-human girl, Teresa. Just now she took off to call for an immediate rescue." Elisha remains skeptical, even if there was a demi-human. Hearing the intense battle noise, the armored blonde warrior, Elisha, and her shrine maiden companion, Suzuna, rush towards the scene. That battle noise was too violent for a mere Watadama, the warrior thinks, suspecting it's most likely a named monster, and hoping novices aren't involved. As Suzuna admires Atobi's supportive actions, if I were them, I'd want him so badly. Elisha observes thoughtfully, but I understand one thing. Suzuna then formally introduces herself. "Pardon my late introduction. I am Suzuna Shiromiya," and Atobi replies, "I am Arihito Atobi." Holding the defeated Redface, the blonde warrior introduces herself. "I am Elisha." She immediately adds a warning to Atobi, "Mr. Arihito, this might be sudden, but don't tell anyone aside people you trust about the subjugation of this monster." Elisha observes the attention Atobi is getting, remarking, "A promising novice can naturally attract many people, and they'd want them in their party." She adds a warning, "The problem is a certain bunch of bad people are present in that mix." "Bad people?" Atobi asks, concerned. Elisha identifies the dangerous group. "The White Knight Brigade." She warns Atobi sternly, never get involved with them, even in the slightest. She then asks, "Give me your license." Elisha demonstrates processing the defeated Redface. "Do it like this. Take it to a monster dismantling shop in town," she explains. "It can provide raw materials for your weapons and armor." She recommends Lie Carton Shop, noting its good reputation, though Atobi looks hesitant. Elisha looks down towards Atobi, Suzuna, and the recovering Igarashi, asking, "Hey lad, are you safe?" With the injured Igarashi gently lifted onto a stretcher, Fuwa, Atobi expresses his gratitude to the rescuers. "Elisha, thanks for everything. I owe you one. And Suzuna-san, too, thanks for the bandage." Elisha asks Atobi, "Will you still be staying here?" Explaining her group's plan, "We'll just explore a little bit more and wrap it up for today." She bids farewell. "See you, mister. Take care." Atobi waves, replying, "Yeah. Hey, newbie, we're going to leave you behind." The supporters call out from a distance. "Yes, I'm coming." Atobi replies, then turns to Teresa. "Let's head back home, Teresa." Observing from afar, a new group tracks Elisha and Suzuna. Good, good. "Looks like there's no one following that death sword," reports Bergen, the one with goggles, confirming, "It's just her and that novice girl again." As Suzuna admires Atobi's supportive actions, if I were them, I'd want him so badly. Elisha observes thoughtfully, "But I understand one thing." Suzuna then formally introduces herself. "Pardon my late introduction. I am Suzuna Shiromiya," and Atobi replies, "I'm Arihito Atobi." The group of antagonists watch Elisha and Suzuna. One calls out tauntingly, "Show me those rumored sword skills." "To us?" "And that dead weight." Another adds, Are you asking for it, Death's Sword? An evil gaze watches. Establishing shots show the Mercenary Guild building, its interior hall, and the wider cityscape of Labyrinth Country. In this scene, one of the characters reveals that he healed Teresa's wounds with his skills, but still feels guilty. In a gesture of remorse, he bows and apologizes for putting her in danger. The scene conveys a strong sense of responsibility and regret on his part. Teresa turns to Atobe, reassuring him after his earlier apology. There is nothing to apologize for. Such a thing is inevitable when someone enters the labyrinth. Rather, I'm grateful. Layla commends Atobe. You remembered it well, Arihito Atobe, referring to his understanding that demi-humans feel pain. She then formally instructs Teresa, today's exploration is finished. Go back inside and turn in your weapons for maintenance. Atobe places a hand on Teresa's shoulder, poke, asking the recap. Layla looks surprised, and Teresa seems confused. Layla observes Teresa's reaction to Atobe, noting thoughtfully, that's the first time I've seen her demonstrate her will outside of battle. Turning back to business, she seems to dismiss Teresa. Thank you for the hard work. Acknowledging Atobe, noticing Teresa's unusual display of will, Layla confronts Atobe directly, demanding, what on earth did you do to Teresa? Atobe looks at his copper tickets, and asks Layla, is there any way to obtain a mercenary permanently? Layla explains the standard cost is 100 copper tickets for a temporary contract, usually only offered for human mercenaries, but adds, looking at Atobe, but if it's you, I think I can trust you. We only did an exploration once, but Atobe reflects, standing beside Teresa. I can no longer imagine advancing forward without Teresa. He acknowledges, to be honest, that shows how well our cooperation is. Back in town, Luisa-san rushes up to Atobe. Atobe-sama, thank heavens you're okay. Informing him, the lady from your party, Igarashi, is recovering at the hospital right now. Atobe reflects on the battle, thinking, she was saved because Teresa was there. Louisa expresses relief upon seeing Atobe. When I heard you were attacked by a named, I was thankful that you were able to escape. But really, I'm glad. She adds reassuringly about Igarashi. Fortunately, her wounds were not that severe, so she will be discharged from the hospital soon. Atobe interrupts Louisa. Louisa-san, actually, I need to tell you something about that. Preparing to report the incident. The protagonist submits a report for defeating Redface and receives 20 gold coins and contribution points as a reward. Louisa reacts with utter shock, 280... To Atobe's report, nearly fainting. Louisa-san, Atobe panics, stammering an apology. I'm sore, and offering tea. Drink some tea. Louisa examines Atobe's results, shocked by his rapid progress compared to her own past. The best record I had was 105 points. It even took me a month to increase my level to 2. She notes his current rank already qualifies him for elite accommodation. Also, with this rank, you'll be able to stay at a suite on the 8th district.
Looking over Atobe's license and report, Louisa notes with surprise, also the credibility gained from the party, implying benefits even from temporarily partying with Igarashi. Overwhelmed by Atobe's reported results, indicated by numbers like 50... Louisa faints dramatically backwards off her chair. Louisa-san. Atobe cries out in alarm. The guide explains the concept of credibility shown on the license. It indicates the trust rating towards a person. While trust normally can't be represented numerically, the license can calculate it as credibility, and this rating affects contribution point gain. Louisa explains the usual points system, emphasizing the anomaly of Atobi's results. But still, it should be at most 5 points for a one-time exploration. To reach 50.5.5, she trails off shocked moreover with a demi-human, which normally won't increase your points. Atobi looks surprised! Louisa explains the usual points system, emphasizing the anomaly of Atobi's results. But still, it should be at most 5 points for a one-time exploration. To reach 50.5.5, she trails off shocked moreover with a demi-human, which normally won't increase your points. Atobi looks surprised! A shocked woman reacts to Atobe's mysterious job, declaring it must be the strongest rearguard class she's ever seen. No way. No. I am pretty sure of this, Louisa insists excitedly, overriding Atobi's explanation. I shall now convey this matter to the official bulletin without further delay, she declares, rushing off. Atobi reacts. He. In a hallway, Atobi is asked, "Do you wish to conceal the subjugation of Redface?" Following Alicia's earlier advice, he replies firmly, "Yes." Certainly, I see your point. I apologize, Louisa concedes, understanding Atobi's reasoning for concealing the Redface subjugation, that standing out would make it difficult to move. Atobi looks on. Eh? Standing before room 105, Atobi looks thoughtful, and considering since individual results are also recorded along with the summary results for the party, Igarashi-sama's results should be visible too. Atobi observes Igarashi resting in her room, likely the suite mentioned in screenshot 264, or a hospital room, awake and looking at her phone. Recovering in her room, Igarashi checks her status report. Incompetent in battle. Rescued by supporters. Contribution point? 0. This is the worst. She thinks despairingly. Spending the night in a stable, huh? Atobi observes her from the doorway, visiting the recovering Igarashi in her room. Atobi-kun. Atobi feels extremely uncomfortable, thinking, this is so awkward. He acknowledges her, Igarashi-san. Both Atobi and Igarashi feel embarrassed about their interaction during the crisis. Now that I think about it, I've done something absurdly embarrassing. Atobi thinks particularly about how he called her name. Igarashi recalls hazily. I'm sure it was something embarrassing. Or rather, he called my name. Igarashi looks flustered, seemingly fixated on Atobi calling her manager. Or just her name. Atobi, also awkward, turns away saying, well, I'm glad you're already doing fine. Recovering slightly, Igarashi tells Atobi, echoing what Louisa likely reported earlier. If it's really you who defeated that named, you'll be very popular among parties of high-leveled seekers. Atobi listens intently, recovering and seemingly aware of his achievements. Igarashi praises Atobi enthusiastically. Way to go, Atobi-kun, you got a big promotion in one day, while silently thinking, thank you for rescuing me. Igarashi worries about her reputation. Apparently the fact that I'm an incompetent Valkyrie will be known to the public, and future prospects. Most likely, joining another party is already... Atobi reassures her, referencing his earlier decision, nothing will be made public about this matter. Atobi explains his reasoning for concealing the Redface report. Right now, I am thinking of doing it at my own pace. It would be troublesome and hectic if I became famous, you know. He then turns to Igarashi. Also, if you don't mind, would you please consider this? Presenting a proposal. Atobi presents a formal written request for Igarashi to stay in his party, offering full support for attack, defense, and recovery, and shared basic necessities until they are stable. Reading it, Igarashi thinks, I've declined your invitation once, so it's kind of impudent of me, but considering his offer. Reading Atobi's request, Igarashi reflects on her past actions. I have been pushing you around for my own sake on that side. And her current failure. What? Here, I pretended to be strong. Instead of saving someone, I ended up as the one being saved. For me, who can't do anything? Atobi wonders, why would you go as far as this? The injured Igarashi weakly pushes Atobi's hand away, pant, urging him, run away, Atobi-kun. She tries to take the blame. It's all my fault. So you... Atobi looks anguished. Igarashi holds the paper Atobi gave her, considering his request for her to stay in his party. Igarashi looks at Atobi, asking rhetorically, do you expect me to allow such a regrettable thing? Thoughts reflect her pride. To be part of someone else's party for such a good-looking and reliable Valkyrie, suggesting she values their unique partnership. Atobi sits at a desk while Igarashi rests quietly on the bed nearby. After considering Atobi's proposal, Igarashi holds out her hand and asks, "Can you lend me a pen?" implying she intends to sign or agree. Pen in hand, ready to sign the agreement, Igarashi confirms with a slight smile, "I just have to sign here, right?" She addresses him formally, acknowledging their new dynamic. Leader Atobi. Atobi smiles back. Agreeing to join, Igarashi adds a condition, warning Atobi semi-seriously. "If you touch strange places while healing me, I will sue you." Okay. Startled, Atobi quickly agrees. "I'll bear that in mind." Atobi makes a purchase in the marketplace. Yen. A flashback shows Igarashi reacting with shock. Marriage, as her mother discusses arranging an interview with a good man from the clients of father's company. Flashback scenes illustrate Igarashi's thoughts. "My parents have always been making decisions for me. They let me choose my job by myself. I intended to advance my career to a position where my parents won't be able to meddle with me anymore, but suddenly there was this talk on marriage." Revealing her past pressures. "I'm sorry. This is nothing more than an excuse, but..." Atobi thinks apologetically as he uses a key to open the door to their suite. Implied reward from screenshot to 264. Igarashi asks, linking his drive to past pressures, "So, you worked me frantically over things like that?" Entering the room, both react with amazement. Whoa. Inside the luxurious suite, Igarashi asks, overwhelmed, Are you sure about this? Inviting me to your lodging on top of buying me clothes?" Atobi smiles reassuringly. "Of course. Manager is an important party member after all." Finding their old dynamic uncomfortable, Igarashi asks Atobi, "Can you not, call me manager already? It's kind of awkward, isn't it?" Yes. Atobi agrees hesitantly. Trying to move past the awkwardness, Igarashi expresses excitement about staying together. Anyway, having a sleepover can be a sick experience." And noticing the suite's features, there's an onsen too. Atobi excitedly latches onto this. An onsen in a different world. That's awesome. Let's check it out immediately. Igarashi-san. A woman confidently walks through a lavish room in revealing attire, drawing the attention of those around her. Several characters relax in a large, luxurious bathhouse. Steam rises as they soak in the warm water, enjoying a rare moment of peace. The group enjoys a quiet evening, some reading, others chatting or resting in their rooms, each lost in their own thoughts and routines. Night falls over Labyrinth Country. Inside the suite, Igarashi sleeps soundly in bed. The night passes peacefully. Atobi and his companions rest in their rooms, recovering from the day's challenges. Returning from her bath, Igarashi finds Atobi already asleep in his bed. She wonders, did I bathe for too long? Igarashi looks pleased, or perhaps slightly flustered. Atobi stands in the background. Igarashi seems flustered. What's wrong with me? Noticing her reaction, Atobi asks, Igarashi-san, is there something wrong? Before quickly adding, no, there's nothing, showing mutual awkwardness. Atobi wakes up flustered, finding himself in a rather awkward position. As he scrambles to understand the situation, he notices a message on the screen, aid recovery. Realizing it may relate to how they slept, he tries to explain himself, while the girl, visibly embarrassed, quietly excuses herself, deciding to sleep elsewhere for the night. Looking flustered, Igarashi admits, I feel uneasy on a lot of things, adding, suddenly, that I don't understand it myself, but Atobi reacts with a surprise exclamation mark.
Recalling Layla's earlier suspicion, what did you do to Teresa? The narration connects Teresa's unusual behavior to Atobi's unknown job, noting credibility doesn't usually rise under these circumstances. Atobi looks surprised. Don't tell me this is... Atobi analyzes the situation, realizing that his aid recovery skill might have an unintended side effect. Each time it's used, it increases the party member's credibility towards him. The girl, blushing, quietly wonders if everything that happened is truly because of her skill's hidden influence. Then Teresa, too, Igarashi begins, trying to downplay her previous confusing feelings. It's okay. It is normal to be worried about a lot of things when you share the same room with a man. But Atobi misinterprets, blaming himself. I am to blame for why Igarashi-san is acting like this. And apologizing, I'm sorry for being insensitive. He declares, I will go sleep in the living room. Seeing Atobi asleep elsewhere, presumably the living room, Igarashi feels bad, thinking, let's move the bed to a different room tomorrow. She looks towards him, blushing slightly, Doki, and thinks, good night. The next morning, Igarashi greets Atobi, trying to be enthusiastic. Atobi-kun, today too, let's do our beat. Atobi, however, reveals, on the contrary, I wasn't able to sleep because I was worried. He lays out the day's plan. Well then, first, we'll hire that mercenary child, Teresa. Then we'll get some new weapons and armor at Lai Carton's shop. Igarashi recalls the battle aftermath. Thinking about Teresa, that mercenary is the one who saved me together with Atobi-kun, isn't she? And Suzuna, also that girl who gave me a bandage too. She resolves, I haven't thanked her yet, so I want to see her soon. As Atobi and Igarashi walk away, another character observes, Uch, thinking, that Oni-san in the suit really looks like a Japanese salaryman, doesn't he? The cheerful character who observed Atobi earlier celebrates, on my second day as a seeker, my third popsicle jackpot. She holds up the winning stick, pleased. As expected of me. Well then, for today, spotting Alicia and Suzuna, oh ho? That girl with black hair and straight-cut bangs. The cheerful popsicle winning girl runs towards them, enthusiastically declaring, I'll join a 3-person party. The cheerful girl exclaims, I knew it. She senses various intentions are about to intersect. As the masked antagonist acknowledges an order understood, the cheerful girl exclaims, I knew it. She senses various intentions are about to intersect. As the masked antagonist acknowledges an order understood,